Hi everybody, thank you for signing in to Purple Mumbles. A surprise live stream for you today. You can see from the ingredients we've got sat down on here, we're going to do a little bit of sweet and a little bit of savoury. So I've got two cameras on the go now, which is wonderful. So it means I don't have to flip backwards and forwards with cameras all the while. Always a good thing. Let me just turn this one up a little bit more. Good to see you there, Fluffy Cheeseburger. Thank you for the host, much appreciated. First things first, let's get our hands and get ourselves ready for a good cook. So today I've decided I was going to make some hummus up. And of course with hummus we always have a little bit of aquafaba left over, which is the kind of the liquid that's in a can of chickpeas. Which is, of course, chickpeas are the basis of the hummus that I'm going to be making today. I have been doing some other cooking, so my food mixer is a little bit grubby inside, but it's okay, it's all ingredients that can go in with the hummus and it's not going to make any difference at all. So first things first, hands are washed, mum's apron on, and boil the kettle. Cup of tea today is going to be a pucker, lemongrass and ginger tea. Have to have a cup of tea. So yes, we've got the double camera stream. My wonderful husband, who is MSage510, is the great person that purchased a second camera for me, so bless his heart. He sent that to me as a surprise present from overseas. So let's get this cup of tea on the go. You'll get to know that I never have a cook on the go without a cup of tea on the side. That's the British in me. So earlier on today, I started draining my can of chickpeas so I could get the aquafaba out, which is what's going on here. So the can's just basically been emptied out into a sieve and was strained off the aquafaba into the bottom of the sieve there, into the bottom of the bowl. Had a bit of an accident with this earlier on and knocked the whole thing, launched it across my kitchen bench. Aquafaba as well. I sat back into the tin. So there we go. There's my chickpeas and there's the aquafaba juice. Now the chickpeas, you want them to strain, you want them to sit for a wee while to let all of that juice drip away. So that's what we've got. Oh, my mic is dead apparently. Bear with. Definitely got the lights on. Fluffy Cheeseburger, could you come on into the room, please? I know he's sitting watching. Okay, it's back again. So let me just relocate this little unit and hopefully it will pick up the signal without too much of a problem. Okay, back on board again. Right, so today we're going to be making sun-dried tomato hummus out of the chickpeas, and we're also going to be making our wonderful vegan brownies. Really, really delicious. I've made these before, but only once before, so I'm still learning with those. I decided on sun-dried tomato hummus because I have some sun-dried tomatoes here that I've just, okay, it's back. Try moving the laptop away from the router. It's only when you walk away. Oh my goodness, I'm going to have to reorganize my whole kitchen bench here. Let me just slide that to the side and slide this to the side. Hopefully that will help. Okay, so as I was saying before, I had some sun-dried tomatoes that were sitting inside my pantry. They were dried ones, and I've just added, there's probably about a quarter cup of sun-dried tomatoes here, and I've just added some boiling water to that so they can swell and soften, and those will be going into the hummus. The hummus I'm going to be making later because I want to get these brownies in the oven. They need to bake for about 30 minutes, so it'd be good if you guys could see at the end of it what they're like. So first things first, I'll get these chickpeas out of the way, and I'm going to dump them straight into my food processor that I used earlier when I was doing some baking. It hasn't been washed up, but it's all good. It's not going to do any harm to those chickpeas or the hummus at all. So sit this out of the way and I'll be focusing on that later. And get it to sit back on the base. Now the brownies I'm making will need to go into a massive pan, so let me grab one of those out of my pantry. One I forgot to get out earlier. Whoopsie, lots of noise clanging and crashing around. And these are going to have to go into my bigger oven. This pan won't quite fit inside my benchtop oven, so I'll need to fire up the big oven today. Let's remove this out of the way. And inside this, I need some brown paper or baking paper. So we'll get that cut off and into that, ready to go. So I'm going to have to follow this recipe quite closely here because, like I say, it's only the second time I've made it. So there'll be steps and processes along the way that I will have completely forgotten about how to do. But that's okay, you just get to watch me for longer, hey? So if you want to see the recipe at all, as you come into the stream, just click !recipe. And oh, and you know what? That's not going to work because I don't have the recipe loaded. I'll make sure the recipe gets loaded to this at the end of the stream. So afterwards, we'll pop the recipe through, and that'll be for the vegan brownie recipe. Will pop up. The hummus recipe, there isn't really one. I just kind of throw things together. So just make a quick mental note of the kind of ingredients I'm throwing into that blender along the way, so you can get an idea of how to make up your own flavors for hummus. Okay, so what this is calling for today is 200 grams of dark chocolate. I've got 200 gram bag of dark chocolate chips here. That needs to be split into 150 grams and 50 grams. So the 150 grams is the first thing that you're going to be cooking with. We need some vegan margarine. Now what I've got here, or vegan butter, if you want to make it vegan, or you could use regular margarine or butter if you're not on a vegan diet. What I've got here is a mixture. I've got some coconut oil and some vegan butter, so it's 50-50. So it's about 75 grams of vegan butter here and 75 grams of coconut oil. And you can see it's hardened because my kitchen is quite cool today. You also need 150 mils of a plant-based milk. Again, if you're not on a vegan diet, any old milk. But vegan diet, once again, I'm going to be using a soy today, but you could use oat milk or almond milk or any of the plant milks available. We need some unsweetened cocoa powder, which I have. Some caster sugar. I'm going to be using raw sugar here. I prefer to use the raw sugar, something that's not been overly processed too much. We need some ground flaxseed. So flaxseed is the same as linseed, and I've just basically put my purchased linseed in the bulk section. Then I put it into a coffee grinder and just grind it down into a kind of a dusty mess, really. Looks like a little bit like loose tea, I suppose. So that gets ground down. And we also need some baking soda, which I have, some sea salt. I'm going to be using regular old table salt, some water and some aquafaba. Now the recipe calls for 3 tablespoons of aquafaba, and I haven't measured mine out yet, so let's see how much we actually have here. So there's 2 tablespoons right there. I'm going to little teeny weeny jug out. Now aquafaba can be frozen, so if you have too much, then go ahead and freeze it, or if you can't make your brownies straight away but you want to make your hummus, then go ahead and freeze the extras. So I only need 3 tablespoons. So there's 3 tablespoons worth there. I'll take this leftover and that will go into my freezer later. So I'll basically pop that into an ice cube tray and freeze that for another day. And it's just kind of a roundabout or thereabouts kind of a measure. What I could do is cook this aquafaba down, so basically put into a saucepan. Hi Justin, oh just me, 67. It's good to have you on board. Thank you for joining us today. So we're making a vegan brownie today. Doesn't have to be vegan, you can change the ingredients around as you wish. And we're making it because I'm making up some hummus, which gives me the aquafaba, the juice that sits inside your chickpea or your canned chickpea, so that's the liquid that it's cooked in. Don't like to throw the aquafaba away, so we get the bonus brownies today. So I've got my 3 tablespoons of aquafaba here ready to go. And first things first, I need to pop my oven on because this oven does take a wee while to heat up. So 180 degrees Celsius, My oven is in Celsius. Which equates to 350 in Fahrenheit or a gas mark 4. You want to have a brownie pan, so it's about the same size as a larger lasagna pan, which I've got here. So that's roughly 18 by 28 centimetres or thereabouts, or 7 by 11 inches. And just pop some parchment or baking paper inside of that, so that's ready to go and I can set aside here. So first things first, over a low heat melt 150 grams of the chocolate and the vegan margarine. As I said before, I'm using half vegan butter and half coconut oil. And you want to melt that into a saucepan. Now I forgot to make sure that I grabbed a induction saucepan, so I've got my regular saucepan unfortunately. So I'm not going to mess up another one. So I shall pop the chocolate chips into here and we'll take it over to the gas stove and get that heated through. Of course you could do this in the microwave as well if you prefer. So 150 of these 200 grams go into here and the rest gets stirred in later. Recycle bin for that. And this is just going to get heated on a very low heat on the stove. Again, you can pop it into the microwave if you prefer. But do keep a close eye on it because you want that margarine and the coconut oil to melt down and you don't want the chocolate to seize, which it can do quite easily if it's touching the bottom of the pan. So I shall just step away from that for a second to see what happens next. Right, so you melt over a low heat the chocolate, the vegan margarine or mixture of butter or coconut oil, whatever you prefer to use. And then once it's melted, we're going to whisk in the plant milk until it's fully incorporated. So I need 150 mils of plant milk. I can use this jug I used earlier rather than dirtying another one. So as I said before, I'm using a soy milk. And that's just what we happen to have in the refrigerator at the moment. But you could use, if you're not dairy intolerant or vegan, then you can use any old milk. So there's 150 mils. Let's see if this is cooking down. So once I've got this into the oven, then we'll go ahead and make the hummus. Sun-dried it's going to be today. I've made different hummuses in my time. Beetroot one is always a popular one. And the story in our family is it's got to be very garlicky, so I do add a lot of garlic to my hummus. And you can add more or less depending upon your own taste. So this is slowly starting to melt down. Bring a heat pad over so you guys can see what's happening. Okay, so once that has melted, what are we going to be getting onto? Yep, so the plant milk will go in next once that's melted. And then we're going to put the flour, the cocoa, the sugar, the flaxseed, the baking soda and the sea salt all into a large bowl. Actually, what I'm going to do is sling the whole lot into this mixer. I'm just going to throw everything in together and see how it goes. So I've got Fluffy Cheeseburger moderating for me today because I'm dreadful at following the stream. NZ Ninja, thank you. It's good to have you on board. Who's pretending to play bass? That would be Sun, I expect. Okay. I've just realised that I don't have my monitors sitting as I would normally have them, so there's a good chance I'm going to miss some of the stream anyway. Unless, of course, Fluffy Cheeseburger comes through and saves the day, which he may well do. And hopefully he'll chase the cat out that I've just heard milling around here as well. Let's just melt this down a little bit further before that milk goes in. Yes, cat, off you go. You don't need to be in here, you've just had more food. That's Pants. He's always begging for food, that one. He only gets small portions at a time because his stomach doesn't tolerate anything more than about a tablespoon. Does it, Pants? So this is just about melted in. That's good enough for my liking. Okay. So there you can see there's just a little bit that coconut oil just needs to melt through, but that will go down quite quickly. And then we can add the plant milk to that, or whatever milk you're using for the day. So again, that's 150 mils of plant milk. So someone's saying about an induction mini oven. I can't read all of the stream here, so Fluffy Cheeseburger, I am hoping that you're going to come into here and save the day. $25-litre unit. 25-litre unit, is that for a benchtop oven? Is that what you're talking about, Ninja? Oh. Yeah, well, that would be pretty good. I do love my benchtop oven. It's just that was not quite big enough to do this recipe that I'm going to be cooking today. So there's the milk, the chocolate, and the butter, coconut oil, or whatever it is that you're using, all mixed together. And I'm going to put everything else that I need directly into my mixer bowl. So I'll bring my scales over, wipe up that mess that I slopped around. So in here we need to have 350 grams of all-purpose or plain flour. I prefer to measure directly into the containers that I'm using. Saves on the dishes. So 150 grams we need in here. And this makes up quite a decent sized brownie. Oops, 350 I said. There's 150. 225. That would have been a fail and a half of a brownie, wouldn't it, if I hadn't put enough flour in. 343, so just a tad bit more. 350, bingo. Aquafaba, hi Eskimo brother. Aquafaba is the liquid that you cook chickpeas in. So when you purchase a tin of chickpeas, so there's mine, there's a Macro brand is mine. You purchase a tin of chickpeas, you want to strain the juice off of those chickpeas, and that's the aquafaba. It behaves very much in the same way as egg whites do. So if you're if you're trying to make something vegan, and the recipe calls for egg whites, you can use aquafaba, which is a more vegan ingredient than egg whites are, obviously, because they come from chickens. So there's my flour into there, 350 grams of all-purpose flour, and we need 100 grams of unsweetened cocoa powder. Again, I'll be measuring that directly into my pan, my mixing bowl. Oh, I hope I've got enough cocoa powder here. I did buy some more, so 84, 91, 92, 96, 97, 100 grams, perfect. Um, 500 grams of caster sugar. Again, I'm going to be using raw sugar. I prefer raw sugar. So this is a lot of sugar inside this recipe. That's the only thing that's a bit bothersome about it. So 500 grams we need. Okay, there's 500. Purple Mumble, drag Streamlabs to the other screen. Okay. Let's hope I've done this right. Oh, that's not right. Aha. There we go. And I don't want that to show up there. That's a little bit better. Yeah, it is a terrific amount of sugar that goes into these, but believe me, they taste so good. Yes, the bowl is on a scale just here. Okay, so we've got, no, I guessed it. I was just pouring it in and guessing it. No, not that good. And then I need 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed. So flaxseed, as I said before, is the same as linseed. When I purchase it from the supermarket, it looks like this. I buy it in the bulk bin aisle. Where did I put it? Where did I put you? Yes, Pants, I know. There it is. So this is what flax or linseed looks like. So it's kind of about 10 times the size of a poppy seed, I suppose. About 1/4 the size of a sunflower seed. So that's my flaxseed, and I take this and pop this into a coffee grinder and blitz it up until we get this. So that's ground flaxseed. Okay? So we need in here 2 tablespoons of flaxseed. And this also helps bring the recipe together. So it acts kind of as a binding agent. Flaxseed is the stuff on your bread. Yeah, see, it's very good for you. It's one of those omega-3 rich thingies, from what I understand. Curtis, please come and sort this cat out, because he's getting on my nerves and he's climbing the walls. Okay, so, and we need a 3/4 teaspoon of, where's my half measure? 3/4 teaspoon of baking soda. Thank you. Son has just called the cat away because he's in here screaming his head off and climbing the walls. And he's just being fed, but he's very demanding. Thank you, son. He won't stay away, will he? I had to pick him up and take him out. Okay. Yeah, ploughman's bread is really nice. I do like nice, rich, grainy breads. We have some beautiful ones here. We've got a local baker who does some wonderful bread as well. So there's a 3/4 teaspoon of baking soda, and we need a 1/2 teaspoon of sea salt. I'm going to be using regular old table salt because that's what I have. 1/2 teaspoon. And then we're going to need 6 tablespoons of water in with this, along with the chocolate mix. So I'm just going to pour the chocolate mix on top of here now. And it also requires 6 tablespoons of water. So what I'm going to do is take my hot water from here and pop the 6 tablespoons of water directly into my saucepan. And that'll help take some of that leftover chocolate out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now sometimes you need a little bit more hot water. We'll just see how we go with this one. So I'm just going to scrape all of that leftover chocolate mix from the outsides of my saucepan here. See my recipe sitting inside a plastic pocket? Always a good thing to do. Look, I've already slopped stuff all over it. Keep your recipe looking good. So you see all that extra chocolatey sauce colour coming out of there. All that yummy flavour. Okay, set that aside. So now I need my super duper food mixer. This thing weighs a ton. We'll bring that into shot for you guys. Oh, I can't get my twisty tie off the cable here. There it goes. Kenwood blenders are on a 1 day a week or so for 185. So that's a good price for a Kenwood one. The 1.6 litre glass fixture on it. Awesome. Sounds like you're getting some steals of some deals there. Right, so we'll pop this into play. There's a good beater arm with this one. It's a scraper bowl beater, so that's pretty good. It gets all those bits left off the edges. I can always swap to the food cam too. Oh, I could do. Let me just see if I can remember how to do this. Big food. There we go. You get to see me in the background. So we're going to turn this on low to start with because we don't want it to slop everywhere. And just because I want to be extra cautious, I'm just going to lay my tea towel over the top just for that first couple of stirs because I do not want that mess in my kitchen. But do mind that this isn't going to go into your beaters. So. There you go. We're always good at wheeling and dealing. Dad's side of being Scottish. My dad's a Geordie and he was a salesman all his life. Look, just as evidence, look, that is why it's always good to put a tea towel over the top. That cocoa powder had slopped out. Okay, stick this back over here. Okay, we'll turn the speed up a little bit on this. Have a cup of tea. I used to pay close attention to those one day and grab one deals, but I end up buying stuff that I don't need, so I'm trying to cut back. I'm trying to be good. Just turn the speed up on this. Yeah, the Kenwood make is a really good one, and there's also KitchenAid is a really great brand as well. I'd like to have a red one myself, but I just can't justify the cost. This one's been going quite well. I get told off because look, I left the, can you see that? I left the cling film on the top of it because it makes me think it's still new. You know, the piece of plastic that says remember to remove me. Yeah, well I remember to remove it, I just don't because I like it looking new. And I get teased about it constantly. Don't I, son? And this thing's probably, 5 years old now? You're looking at getting the Russell Hobbs digital convection oven from Smith City. Yeah, I know it says remove before use. Yeah, it's always nice to have friends in high places. Friends that work in, friends in high places and friends that work in the area where you're needing to make your purchases. We just purchased a new hob and oven from Noel Leeming's in the Christmas sales, which I don't actually need at the moment, although my oven did pack a sad on Christmas Eve. We got that repaired and that's what we're using today, but we haven't installed the new ones yet. I'm waiting to get my new bench top. When we install the new bench top in the kitchen, then we'll put in the new gas hob and new oven, which is pyrolytic, so I'm really happy about that. Always good to get a bargain though. So we got our bargain in the Boxing Day sales. And we've just had the company hang on to it for us, and they've also made a promise that should the price drop below what I paid for it up until the time I want to pick it up, then they'll refund the difference, which is great. I think there was a new manager there that was just after getting as many sales as he possibly could on Boxing Days, but we've got it in writing, so there we go. Right, scrape off every last little piece that I can. Doesn't that look yum? Move this mixer out of the way again. We've just got to put those, fold in the last of the chocolate chips. So my oven is at temperature, which is great. So that's the only thing about this recipe is it's such a large recipe. I guess I could make a smaller amount, but I'm refitting the old bench top from the kitchen for a tidy little corner unit in the studio, so you'll have a mini kitchen. Well, that'd be handy. Probably the only positive about EQC, yeah. So you had some EQC problems as well. They're a nightmare to deal with, aren't they? I'm still fighting with them. It appears that it damaged the outside of my property. EQC will only pay for part of the repairs, so I'm fighting with them to say that the painting that needs to be done on the soffits needs to be done all around the soffits, but they're telling me otherwise. They're expecting me to have a new paint line on it, but I'm not happy about that, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. So there we go, there's my brownie mixture. So I'm just going to add to that these leftover 50 grams worth of chocolate chips. Yeah, we've waited to get the repairs done as well. And I think, yeah, it is better to wait. If it's stuff that you can cope with and deal with and manage with, then that's fine. Might as well get the builders when they're in a downward slump. You're more likely to get a better deal than having the work done when everybody's desperate for a builder and they can pick and choose the work that needs to be done. Oh my goodness, so you've got a lot of Remu in the property. That would make them freak out, wouldn't it? But hey, that's what you pay the insurance for, you know, they just need to pay up. So insurance companies are very, very good at taking your money, but boy, when it comes to paying out, and I note that our insurance has gone up by almost $300 for the building's insurance this year, so it's really shot up in cost. Okay, so this is about ready to go into the pan. I know it looks rather gross, but believe me, these do taste good, as Fluffy Cheeseburger can attest to. I do like this spoon. It's a kind of a scraper spoon, so it's got some flex to it, so it can really scrape out all those last little bits from the pan, from the mixing bowl. Make sure everything makes it to the oven. You're currently living in the front lounge. It's got Remu ceiling and floors, and also the fireplace around. Wow. So have they done any of the repairs to your property yet? So we haven't had any major damage. Most of ours has just been cracks in the paintwork, and some jib has popped, and we had some furniture topple over and do some damage. But nothing structural or anything like that with ours, thank goodness. But there was damage to the concrete slab. We had to pay extra, an extra additional excess on the outside of the property because EQC doesn't pick up a large portion of that. But because of the exterior patio damage, instead of repairing the concrete, we've had a deck built, and that looks really nice. Kitchen and housing is mostly done. Well, that's good. Still need insulation installed in the attic or in the loft, if you're English. You probably want to get that done quite soon as well, because it's starting to show signs of autumn. Okay, so there's that lovely chocolate brownie mix in there. Spread that around some. I can get the paper to stay put. I think I've added extra water to this the last time I made it, because it was certainly easier to spread than this little batch is, but we'll see how this one turns out. Okay, so so does that mean you don't have the shower and toilet? Oh, that's already been done. So the worst thing is being without your shower. Worse still, being without a toilet. Okay. How does that look? Pretty tempting, isn't it? So it's mainly the house extension which contained the toilet. Yep, got that. But they completely repurposed the old shed into a studio for you. So this is before they started working. A temporary indoor installed on the veranda. Oh dear. I do hope that it's covered. You don't want to be sat out there and waving to the neighbours. So are you going to have all of this finished, do you think, before winter sets in? It's a plywood box. Hey, you know you make do, don't you? And once everything's repaired, it'll look wonderful, I'm sure. It'll be worth all the hassle, the aggro. Right, so that's ready to go into the oven. So the cooking time on this is 30 minutes. We'll pop that in there now. Pop it into the middle of my oven. Oops, burnt my thumb. And set a timer for 30 minutes. Actually, I'll set it for 25 so I can keep a close eye on it. So timer is set. Okay, so let's go on and make this hummus, which is the whole reason we ended up making a brownie. So I've got my chickpeas here inside my blender. Lengthen the cord on this. Hummus is so easy to make. I don't know why you would purchase hummus when you see how simple it is to throw this together. So these are my drained chickpeas. Yeah, if you gotta poop, you gotta poop. Underfloor heat pump was installed first, so heat isn't an issue, but retaining it makes things cheaper, right? That's good. Yeah, it's very important to make sure that you get your place insulated. An underfloor heat pump, that'd be nice. So you have warm floors. So what are you going to have on your floors? Are you tiling, carpeting, wood, or what are you going to do for your floors? Right, this recipe can go out of the way. And now we're going to get onto these lovely chickpeas and produce our wonderful hummus. So a can of chickpeas, and I've got some minced garlic. Love minced garlic, so that's going to be going into there. We like garlic, as I mentioned before, so there's probably 2 cloves worth there, and I'll put another 2, so there's about 4 cloves of garlic into this. The garlickier the better in our household. You might want to try it with just 1 or 2 cloves to see how it goes. We want to add some lemon juice to this. Oh no, it's a new container. I always struggle to get these things open. Oh, did I get it? Wow. I'll put about a tablespoon of lemon juice in as a starter. And then we need some olive oil. Extra virgin. And where is my tahini? There it is. If you don't have tahini, then you can use peanut butter, but it does add a additional taste that you'll miss if you don't have it in there. So the studio is going to be carpet tiles. All the insulation is noise cancelling, so you can be as loud as you want. Good on you. You also probably will not need acoustic foam. Oh, that's awesome. That'll please the neighbours as well, I'm sure. Right, so this is tahini. I'm not sure if you're supposed to keep this in the fridge or not after you've opened it, but I've stopped keeping it in the fridge because the stuff can get... See how hard it is to stir the oil in at the moment? It's even worse when it's refrigerated. So let's just get that oil stirred back into it. So we haven't got sick yet, and this whole jar has never been refrigerated, so I just like to stir that in thoroughly so we don't end up with any tough stuff at the bottom of the jar. And you probably want about a tablespoon of tahini, so there's a good heat teaspoon, well-heated teaspoon. And I've got my sun-dried tomatoes. Again, you can put whatever you want into here. Cook up a sweet potato, throw that in. Cook up butternut squash, throw that in. Whatever suits your taste for the day. So sun-dried tomatoes is what I have inside, so that's what's going in. And I'll put the water in that's soaked through as well, because that water is absolutely full of flavour, which we don't want wasted. So that goes in. And then we want some olive oil. So probably about 2 tablespoons I'll start with. if I need more, then we'll go. Your neighbours are pretty cool. Right. Yeah, it's good to have chilled neighbours. I have to say, we're very lucky where we are. Our neighbours are wonderful at keeping an eye on the property for us. Know all of the comings and goings of what's going on in the neighbourhood, so they're always keeping an eye on what's happening in the street, so you feel nice and safe here. Right. Best to take your teaspoons out of your food processor before you switch it on, otherwise you're aiming for a dreadful mess. Something else I want to put into here is about a teaspoon worth of salt. And of course, some smoked paprika. So how much do I want smoked paprika? Shall we go for a half teaspoon? Our past neighbours still keep in contact with their lawyers. Oh, that's nice, isn't it? It's nice when people stay in touch. Okay, I'll just pop the lid on and blitz away. I hope it's not too noisy. So you can see this one's actually quite moist, which is wonderful. And if you're finding that your mixer's having trouble blitzing this down, then you can add either a little bit more boiling water, or cold water will be fine as well, or some more olive oil. I think I've got enough olive oil in there, so we'll just keep this going. Yeah, I'm sure it would put the fear of God into them. Well, good on them. It's wonderful that they're doing some work for you. You've got to keep these locals on their toes, otherwise they try to pull the wool over your eyes. So you can see that the chickpeas have taken on a lovely red colour. Those sun-dried tomatoes are still plugging along, and there's still a fair few chunks in there with it, so that's quite nice. I like mine with a little bit of extra chunks. Let's have a wee taste. That needs a tad more lemon juice. So it's probably another 2 teaspoons, I guess, in there. Yeah, I think that if you've not liked a hummus that you've tried in the past, do try making your own, because you can just add flavours as it suits your own taste. And I mean, you don't have to add your, as we're using diced up sun-dried tomatoes, you don't have to add them into the blender. You can make your hummus up with your chickpeas and the olive oil, the lemon juice, tahini if you have it, if not use peanut butter. Gives us a very similar taste. Salt, black pepper I've forgotten to add to this, or some of that in. But you can just make up the basic hummus, and add your sun-dried tomatoes or whatever it is you want, olives, diced olives, to give a different texture if you prefer to at the end, so you have some extra chunk. Hi Miss Loco, thank you for joining us today. We're making some hummus, and I've got some brownies in the oven, which was made from the aquafaba of the chickpeas, because we don't like things to go to waste. Just blitz that black pepper into there. I love hummus too. We're making sun-dried tomato today, just because I had some sun-dried tomatoes in my refrigerator that needed using. Oh, that's nice. Number one son, why don't you come through and have a taste test, please? If you're around, number one son, number one son. Oh, thank you for stopping by, Miss Loco. It's wonderful of you to stop in and say hi. I'm just going to go bang on the door so I can get number one son to come and try this hummus. Oh, here he comes. With the cat. Always has the cat. You stand anywhere near the kitchen door, the cat walks in. Have a taste. Tell me what you think.
Wow. Hero?
He's pretty noisy. Too pasty?
No, I just got a huge chunk of
Tomato, sun-dried tomato. Yeah. You want it blitzed more? A little bit softer? A bit more salt? Yeah.
Is that all? Everything you're thinking?
Yeah. Is anything else, do you think?
No.
Okay, so this needs a bit more salt. So I've got about a half a teaspoon of salt there. Thank you for the taste test, number one son. And I'm going to use a little bit more hot water to loosen this up just a little bit more. And he wasn't enjoying the chunks too much, so we'll blitz this at a higher speed and for a bit longer. Oh, sorry, Miss Loco, that you need to go. Yes, so please watch the video tomorrow. Hopefully it'll pop up online automatically, and you can see what it is we've been putting together. Oh, still probably a little bit too dense for my liking. Add a little bit more hot water. We'll run this again. I love this food processor. We've had it for, oh gosh, probably over 20 years. Purchased it when we were living in Europe, and absolutely love it. It's traveled the world with me, as you can see. Well, if I show you the plug, I can't tell you how many different plugs it's had on it. Bought it in Germany, used it in Italy, used it in England, and now using it in New Zealand. Let's have a taste. Oh my gosh, that's delicious. Eskimo brother, you thought it was something you do underwater. I kind of like that. Okay, so this is good to go. Just move this mixture out of the way, mixer out of the way, and get this into a container in the refrigerator. So this will keep for, oh, probably about a week if it lasts that long inside there without being eaten. And it's great to put on crackers and wraps, or, you know, put in sandwiches, use it instead of butter. Lovely flavour, and the chickpeas are good for you too. Let's get this blade out. This is always the messiest part of the job. It is a little bit easier to clean off when it's runnier like this as well, so another reason why I prefer it runnier. Nice to have with chips and dip. Did you know it's usually the capacitors that give out on appliances, not the actual, that break, you mean? On appliances, not the actual motors. It's actually pretty easy to replace them, but most people just discard it. Oh no, we try to repair everything. I hate throwing things away that can still be repaired, so we always give it a go. Husband was an electrician in a former life, aircraft electrician. So if it's electrical and it's broken, it usually goes to him and he gets it fixed for us. Our big oven, when it bit the dust at Christmas time and put on its very own display of fireworks, it looked like a Catherine wheel with sparks spinning around inside there. It had blown the fan motor, the electric fan element at the back of the oven. Oh, that's nice. And yeah, Christmas Eve it did that. How kind. Thankfully, we were barbecuing for Christmas Day at a friend's house, so that's saved us. But we got that repaired. It was only a couple of $100. Actually, I don't think it's even 200. I think it's like 120 bucks to get it fixed. And I will be selling it because it is a very good oven. I just wanted to get a new one since we're doing the bench top, and I'll be getting a new hob because that gas hob is a bit of a pain in the butt at times. Still works, but sometimes it's just a bit slow to light. And I figure if you're going to spend all this money to do your kitchen, you might as well get what you want. So we will. Kiwi Christmases. Now, here's a hard one because are you a Kiwi originally? Are you from the Southern Hemisphere, NZ Ninja? Or are you from the Northern Hemisphere? So you're from the Southern Hemisphere. You see, now, I don't want to offend you, but I cannot get into the Christmas spirit. If it's not cold, then it doesn't feel like Christmas to me. And it just feels like, I mean, it's nice on Christmas Day to not have to heat the house up and do the whole Christmas turkey thing, which takes forever. Instead, we just have cold hams. But I just hate that it's not cold. Yeah, I grew up with it being cold, so I can't. We've been here for a lot of years now, 15 years coming up on. And I still can't get my head around it. And I feel bad because, you know, I struggle then to get into that Christmas spirit. And so it isn't until I start hearing the Christmas music and then it's a little bit easier for me. But I remember we lived in the UK, I'd have all my Christmas shopping finished, done and dusted by the end of October, just because it was cooling down, you know. But now, yeah, I'm lucky if I've finished it by the middle of December. The kids are just happy because now since I don't do a turkey every year, or a hot ham, and heat the kitchen up, I don't do Brussels sprouts either, which means no one has to eat Brussels sprouts and no one in the family likes them. I don't like them either, but I do them because it's a Christmas tradition. But I don't force anybody to eat Brussels sprouts for Christmas anymore, so everyone's happy about that. Beach at Christmas is awesome. You know, that's okay if you don't get eaten by sandflies. I get one sandfly and they all come and eat me. So if you want to go to the beach or go camping anywhere and you're worried about sandflies and mosquitoes, just bring me with you because they won't touch you. They all come and bite me. One bite will give me a welt like that size, huge welt, and it'll be there for 2 weeks and left with a massive bruise afterwards. Oh, no, I can't. Beach doesn't. I love the beach. I do like to go to the beach, but sandflies, dreadful things, and they think I'm delicious. So I'm the one, when we go camping, that sits under a mosquito net. I've got a chair with a hood over the top of it, and that mosquito net goes over the top of it. And I get laughed at, but I don't get bitten. Eat more Marmite. No. I eat Marmite until it comes out my ears, and the little buggers still bite me. They like the English skin, I guess. Right, so there is my sun-dried tomato hummus. And what's lovely with this is put a wee drizzle of olive oil over the top. Just a little bit. You don't need much. I'll put my thumb over this when I drizzle. Just a few drops. Wipe your bottle down so you don't end up with that nasty sticky ring inside your pantry. And then some smoked paprika on top. There you go. No comment because it'll get political. Right, so you can see I always write on my containers. Generally I take a dishcloth. In fact, I will just take the cloth to this. I'm going to erase the old date off of there. So it says hummus on here already. Blacken that up a little bit more. Sun-dried tom. And today's date is the 5th of March 20. So this will keep for a week or so inside the refrigerator. So there we go, sun-dried tomatoes. So we've got about 6 minutes left. So I'll pop this in the fridge so it can cool down. It's still slightly warm from that boiling water. Oh, those are looking nice. Clean my mess up in here somewhat, and then we can catch up on some chat. So who's going to be giving this recipe a go? It'd be nice if somebody tried something and gives me some feedback. That would be wonderful. Tidy up this kitchen. Be a tidy Kiwi. That goes in the fridge. What else goes in the fridge? That's about it. Right. All right, it's time for me to go. I have a lot of stuff to do before I leave for a 10-day vacation. Oh, wow, where are you going? Have a lovely time. Let me just flick this around so I can see. You don't need to see this, you can see me instead. There you go. Yeah, so yeah, I would give that Insect Ninja, give it a go. Make some hummus yourself, and you can either want it to, if you want it chunky, then don't blitz it so much. If you, and you know, dice up whatever additional flavors, whether it be beetroot is really nice inside it, or sun-dried tomato like we have, or whatever it is that you fancy. Try dicing it up and giving it more chunk, if you like. But yeah, you can, if you're making it yourself, you can make the flavor the way you want it, and then you can see whether or not it's the texture or the consistency. And you can make it runnier by adding more olive oil or a bit of boiled water. Yeah, I do like my hummus Loco. We get through a fair bit with it. I make mashed potatoes with a fork, the same with guacamole. Ooh, yum. I don't know if you'd be able to mash chickpeas with a fork. You probably could, potato masher. Or put them in the blitzer and just blitz it just for a short amount of time. That might be the way to go. Let me just put some more of this stuff away. Get my kitchen tidy. I'm going to get myself some more tahini soon. That's nearly out. Lovely to have you on board, Miss Loco. Sweet dreams. It was lovely chatting with you, and please have a look tomorrow and maybe you can watch the whole show, and hopefully I'll get the recipe for these brownies up and running for you guys, so you can see what it was that I've made and what ingredients we need to make that. So sweet dreams. Bye. A stack of dishes to do in here. That's going to be number one son's job. Oh, he does when I cook. Right, nearly tidied away. A couple more things for the pantry. So I've made these brownies before, and I'm pretty certain I've done a stream on it before, but I will make sure that the recipe comes back up online for you guys. We've got another couple of minutes left to go on the brownies, and then we'll bring them out and see how they look and see how they taste. All right, oven gloves at the ready. And a knife, I think, is probably the best way to test it. Or toothpicks. Let's try toothpicks. The best part about having a holiday home in Oamaru, oh, I love Oamaru. Whenever the family use it, they bring up some chips from the large bags of 10 or 20 kg chips, as in French fries or in bags of chips that you are thinly cut and you eat cold. So I'm not understanding what chips we're talking about. Are they ones that are frozen, or I'm not aware of special chips from fries, cooked ones. Okay. Oh, they're chunky ones, are they? Oh, yum. You know what I like is beer battered fries. That's really naughty, I know, but boy, they're delicious. Love me some beer battered fries. Probably not particularly vegan, but ho-hum. Can't be perfect, can we? Close enough, but can't be perfect. Now I'm going to need a knife to cut this brownie. That one should do the trick. Perfect brownie knife. Oh, the quality is phenomenal. So these are from, oh, I'm going to say this wrong now, Makakihi? Did I say that right? It's from Makakihi. Makakihi, yeah, Makakihi. I hope it's right. I've never had them, so I've never heard about them. Right, there goes the timer. So maybe, whoops, I'll reset this just in case I need that extra 5 minutes. Makakihi fries. Makiki. Oh well. Good fries, all right. If I ever find my way to Makikihi, I'll find out where their fries are. Is there a brand name? Or is that what they're known as, Makakihi fries? Right, let me get that toothpick. I need to test the doneness of these. Oh, it's warm in here. Oh, no, I think they're still a bit soft. Oh yeah, they need another 5 minutes. 5 more minutes, peeps. That is the brand. So can we get them anywhere else? So I'm assuming that we buy them frozen. Okay, so they're actually called Makakihi fries and you buy them from Makakihi. So can we get them from anywhere else? Do supermarkets stock? It's a little south of Timaru. New World stocks them. Okay, I'll have to go to New World. We tend to shop at the Countdown, which is closest to us. So, and I like the fact with Countdown as well. Now you can do that online shopping, so you don't have to worry about fighting the crowds, which I know that's a number one son has a problem with too many people, and that's as a result of getting 3 pretty hard head knocks in a 5-month period. And so it's easier on him if we do the shopping online and then just swing by Countdown and pick it up. And we take a fish bin, a nice clean, not a dirty fish bin, nice new clean fish bin, and take all the groceries straight out the trolley into the fish bin. There's no bags involved or anything. It makes it nice and easy to unload the boot of the car, bring them straight into the kitchen, fish bin straight in, get it unpacked, goes back into the back of the car again. Yeah, I'm going to have to look those up. New World stocks them. So is there like a, obviously a chunky cut fry, is there a coating on them? As I would imagine, you know, beer batter fries have a coating on them. And is it oven fries? Do you put them in the oven or do you deep fry them? Oh, you don't like Countdown? Oh, okay. Yeah, New Worlds, I think most of them are family owned, but I like the fact that we've got that quiet hour that I don't know if they do it at New World, actually I haven't checked, but we have no trouble with parking here at Countdown. New World can be a problem. They have the quiet hour, which is very helpful for people that are recovering from head injuries and kids with special needs, autistic children and whatever. They are better in a quieter, calmer environment. And I prefer it when they dim the lights and turn the music off and it's quieter, and it just brings a whole calm to the supermarket. It's not that whole stress, get through, bang, bang, whatever. Yeah, see, we always do ours. You haven't tried deep fried, that's great. We always do oven fries. If I ever cook fries, it's done in the oven, so good to know. I'm going to have to look out for those Makakihi. So I'll have to make a special trip out to New World just to try them. So you're off to a batch. Oh, how lovely is that? I'd love to have a batch. We've got our batch, I suppose, is our caravan or motorhome that you drive around. I guess you get different views all the time with that, but to have something that's in one permanent spot, close to the sea, oh, it'd be wonderful. Hi, my missing piece. Thank you for joining us. You're kind of coming in at the end of the stream now. What we've made today is I wanted to make some hummus because we'd used all the hummus up that we had in the refrigerator. So I've made some sun-dried tomato hummus, and with the leftover aquafaba, or the liquid that that hummus was canned in, that's what we used to make our brownies. So I've made a vegan brownie with the aquafaba that was in that can of chickpeas, so nothing goes to waste. It's not even a batch, it's a 7-bedroom villa. Oh my gosh, when am I going to get my invite? Wow. So do you manage to fill it up when do you have the whole family come over? Or do you just swing by there and yourself? Or are you enough of a family by yourself to fill up 7 bedrooms? Sounds gorgeous. It's had a lot of work put into it? Yeah. It's not really fancy, Miss Missing Piece. It's delicious, but it's not really fancy, and it's so easy to make. So easy. We're just waiting on this last 5 minutes or so. I got 34 seconds because it needed extra time. I'd only put it in for 25 minutes originally, although the recipe called for 30. I did that early 5-minute check, and it wasn't quite done, so I'm hoping this extra 5 minutes, or this last 5 minutes, is going to be enough so we can show. And I'm certain as soon as I bring that out of the oven, number one son, who's in the other room, will be milling into here to have a taste. It's enough of a family with the grandkids, etc., to fill it up for the holidays, but it's available at a whim also. Yeah, and that's nice, isn't it? If you just like want to get away for a wee while, just for a quick break, to have a batch to go to, lovely. So at the moment we take off inside either a caravan or a motorhome, whatever's in the driveway at the time. And that's how we get away. And sometimes you just need to pop out for a short trip somewhere and you can feel like you've been away for a month. And it might only be for 2 days of a weekend. Nope, I think we need 5 more minutes, peeps. Five more minutes, start that again. I have to say that our last caravan that we had, when I was working, we would knock off work, or husband would knock off work early on a Friday, and I only worked till noon on a Friday anyway. So we'd knock off work, come home, hop into the car, back it up onto the caravan, take off, and literally half an hour or so down the road, park up, and you could be in the middle of nowhere, no one else around you. The sound of the ocean, just fantastic. Yeah, a breakaway, it does. It helps you readjust your perspective. Yep. You can switch off of work, switch off of all those chores that you see at home that you need to get done, switch off of those piles of laundry that you've left behind. And so we would go away on a Friday night and come back again on a Sunday or Friday afternoon, and I'd have something in the freezer, always have something in the freezer, a meal ready to go. So literally Friday morning we decided, right, we're going out this evening, we're going to stay away for the weekend, pull out the meals from the freezer, so we just put them into the refrigerator. I didn't have to worry about going grocery shopping because you got the meals right there. Stock up a few smaller grocery items like yogurt and cereal or whatever for breakfast, take a loaf of bread out and some whatever it is you want to put on your bread. And yeah, we have an oven inside the caravan, and we just take off down the road half an hour to an hour, park up near the coast, put the oven on all times of the year. So middle of winter you could go out because there was a heater in there as well. Just wonderful. Come back on the Sunday afternoon and you feel like you've been away for 2 or 3 weeks. Just good to switch off and get away. Leave it all behind. And then when you come home, it's good to be home as well, you know, because we have the shower inside the caravan, but it's not quite as nice as the shower at home, obviously. So it's good to come home again as well. So change is as good as a rest, isn't it? So they say. Come on, brownies, we want to eat you. 3 more minutes. Being patient, working my way for my lovely cup of tea. And if Father goes down the holiday home, he usually visits the butcher and brings home chunks of beef to fill it. Oh, yum. I'm not really much of a steak eater, but if it's there, I'll eat it. So I don't think we've had meat now, probably in a month and a half, 2 months. So we had a son on vegan diet. I bring some chunks of beef to, yeah, okay. Son's been on a vegan diet for a while to see if that can help with his recovery from these head injuries. And so we tried vegetarian for a while and then stretched it into vegan, and now we're kind of going back into vegetarian again. No, we're not against meat. It's more of, it was diet to try and help his brain. And I know that my grandfather passed away with colon cancer, and directly related to a very high consumption of meat. And I don't find that I need meat in my diet. It's not something that I crave. Oh yeah, no, I wasn't taking anything the wrong way. No, I thoroughly support. I know a good steak when I see it. My husband enjoys a good steak. My biggest downfall is bacon. Oh, love to. Now the other day we went out for breakfast, and number one son did have bacon with his breakfast, and I looked at it, and if I could have smelt it, I was a bit bunged up, so that wasn't so bad. But if I could have smelt it a little bit better, I'd have probably stolen a bit off his plate. But chicken, pork, and bacon really was the only meat that we ever used to eat. But oh, sorry that you have to go, my missing piece. But please come back and check out the video that will be popping up later on my homepage. So save me as a favorite and come back and have a watch of the video later, and you can see the taste test and how well this stuff has come out. So thanks for joining us. Thanks for staying with us.